Good morning guys, welcome back to another video. அதாவது என் கண்ணு தெரியலண்ணா மண்ணு தெரியும்னு சொல்லுவாங்க, யார் சொன்னா தெரியல. So it's episode 6, so let's get on with the episode. Yes, I have not cut my hair this whole time, and I will cut my hair, don't worry. So episode 6, I only have half an hour to film this, so let's get on with the video. Okay, so if you watched my V2.live, right, I in V2.live talk about how you should be a bowl, right, to not get I can't see, because if I look I might flipping fly. What was I gonna say? Just to be a bowl, right? Be a bowl, my friend. Be a gunnam. Actually, no. Let's use this as an analogy, okay? Say this is you. An attachment could be. God's sake, I can't find anything. Let's use this weird rock as an attachment, right? This could be money. I can't put it in there because money. Okay. You have money, but do not be attached to the money, because the money can leave. But where the hell is the rock? Hello? Ain't got waiting. Okay, I'll just get a new rock, because a new thing. Haha. Okay. Because if you were attached to the thing, right, the money, you are now missing out. You are now lost a part of yourself, because you were the rock, money, and the thing. So you just lost a part of yourself. It's a bit difficult. This is you. What comes inside is the attachment. But don't get attached to things, because once it leaves, like money, if money leaves, then you're losing a part of yourself. But if you're the bowl, right, not the bowl and the thing that's with you, but just the bowl, anything can come and leave you and you'll be fine, because you're still whole, and you can still. This is what I meant to say. This doesn't mean don't care about anything, this doesn't mean don't care about your friends. It doesn't mean don't love, stuff like that. It means hold the love, right? Because you can. You're the bowl. You can hold it as deeply and as much as you can. You can hold love. But if love leaves you, or if money leaves you, you're not broken and torn and freaking. If money leaves you, you're not broken and torn, because you are not money and the bowl. You are just the bowl. So anything can come and go, but you'll be fine. You'll be still whole, because you are the bowl. Okay, I don't know what I was saying. I can't lie. But next topic. So I'm using my phone as my flashlight, and I'm using another phone as my camera. I need to cut this out. Spit my tongue. But a very fun topic, which was, the more you taboofy something, the more you taboo something, right, the more likely it is to be abused, right? So say like parents who tell their kids, don't go out late, don't come out late, don't smoke, don't do this, don't do that. I've noticed that those kids, they still end up doing it, and they like to rebel and go against their parents, and I always never realized why. I saw another video. I saw this mom, where she would just let her children just do whatever they want, right? They eat sweets whenever they want. They can eat ice cream at for breakfast, dinner. They can watch sit TV, do whatever they want, or swear whatever they want, right? But when she gave them so much freedom, the kids actually learnt to do their things on their own, and they don't. I think I don't remember the story properly. So but they were very well behaved, right? So that's the thing. But then there's people, don't go out, you're not allowed to go outside, this, and they would like lie to their parents that, I'm just gonna go meet a friend, but they're going to meet someone else, or they're just going out in secret. You know what I mean? Which is something I never noticed, and I wanted to know why, right? Why? It's not even that. Like drinking, smoking, stuff like that. When you've been brought up not to do something, I wonder why you're more likely to do it. Why does a taboo get broken in the first place? Or like, what pushes you? You know what I mean? So I thought about it. I didn't think about it at all. Can't lie. It was just something I thought about, and I was trying to understand why. If someone told you not to do something, you're more likely to do it, right? Right? But why is that? What in us wants us to do that? Maybe if you're an adult, it's a bit different. Because like, if you're a teenager, like me, okay, as a teenager, even, I'm trying but my brain is still not fully developed because I'm not 25 yet, right? And yours, if you're not 25, yours is not either. But the thing is, so we have systems in our brain, right? We have the frontal lobe and the limbic system. So if you're a teenager, the reason why teenagers are more likely to do rowdy things, right? They drive really quickly, they do drugs, they do bad things. Because in teenagers, the limbic system is a part of your brain which controls emotions, right? That part of your brain is actually it's either the amygdala or the limbic system, which regulates emotions. So the amygdala is actually properly formed. The amygdala is actually fully formed, right? Or like very matured compared to the prefrontal cortex. And the prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain which makes decisions. So you can tell how if the amygdala, which controls your emotions, right, which is properly more formed, which in terms of when getting along with people and making new friends, memories, having heightened emotions, right, can kind of lead to you making decisions based on your emotions rather than actual critical thinking, which is something that happens with a more mature prefrontal cortex. So with a less matured prefrontal cortex but a fully matured amygdala, or a more matured amygdala, teenagers are more likely to make emotion-based decisions rather than actual thinking through like an adult. But obviously stuff like that is, again, it's individuality. It's different for everyone, right? Everyone's gonna mature at different times, but everyone's brain matures at different. Bruv, I need to cut my hair. I say that, but I just should. But yeah, that's the thing. That's why teenagers, and even then, it's not even that. Why do they, go behind their parents and they they lie to their parents and they. Wait, let's change the lighting. Is it like this? Lying to your parents. Lie to your parents, and you do more rash things because sometimes you just have more thrill around it. Another thing which is really cool, or not really cool, is actually the fact that social, high self-esteem is somewhat actually genetic, because high self-esteem is linked to something called grey matter. So individuals with a higher grey matter have more self-esteem because they can think. I know why. I can't tell you. I don't know why, but I remember there was a link between high grey matter and high self-esteem, because people with low grey matter are more likely to be depressed and have schizophrenia, stuff like that. So yeah, that's something I learned. I don't know what else to talk about. What other topics? Let's talk about other topics. Something again is like, which is why it's really important to have a good friend group, right? Your friends, like, you know the quote, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are, or something like that. Like, you're the product of your friends, right? And here's the thing. Your friends are your friends because you guys are similar. You might be very different, but you have similarities in like a core sense, if that makes sense. You guys might make the same decision if given the same choice, or the choices, but in terms of things, you might be very different. My friends, my closest friends, we're very different, right? Personally speaking, I have no idea about like cars or like perfumes and like big brands. I have no idea. I don't know anything about that stuff, right? But my friends they talk about that and chat about that stuff, right, all the time. But I know that me and my friends, we've been, okay, like my closest friends, so one I've known for like 13 years, and 2, 3, which, you know, since year 7. The thing is, like, friends aren't really measured by how long you know someone, you know what I mean? Friends is more like just the vibe, just the energy that you get from someone. Some people you meet for the first time and you go, like, you just know you'll be friends. Like, you just get that vibe. I don't know how to explain that to you. You have noticed it. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you can't be like, oh, they didn't know you long enough, or like, I don't know you long enough. Friendship was never measured on how long you know someone, right? I've only known them for 8 months now, right? Because, you know, uni started in September. I've only known them since September, and right now it's August. So, oh my god, that is not 8 months. That is 11 months. But all of those people, like the friends I've made, the people that know me, I've only known them for a few months, but they know me, and I know them enough. Like, we know each other enough, right? It was never measured on how long you know someone. Like, some people, I don't know how to explain this point. What I'm trying to say is, they would know what I mean, or what you meant, or what kind of decision you'd make. And I have friends that know that version of me already, and I've only known them for a few months. And then there's people I've known for 7 years or 13 years that know me as well. But then there's going to be people that have only known me for a few months, and then they think otherwise, or a few years and think otherwise, because they don't know me, but we're still friends. But friends ain't based on that, is it? It's not about how long you know someone, it's about how you vibe with them. It's just energy, bro. I don't know how to explain that. Friendship is never based on how long you know them. It just clicks, bro. I can't lie. That's why having very good friends is very important for your character. Sometimes if you want to know someone, you just know their friends, and you kind of know what kind of person they are, because they're likely to be like their friends. You're your friend. You have friends because they're similar to you. Again, they might not say and do, or you might not have the same interests, but deep down, you guys will have the same core. Like, for me, the way I think about it is like, deep down, in your core, in your nutshell, that you guys have similarities. If I want to sound more spiritual, I would say like you have similar souls, but you just think differently, right? I have a friend, like I said, my friends of since like 7 years, they are very different to me, right? They always talk about cars, football, luxury brands, stuff like that. I don't know anything about that stuff, but I know that, well, we've been friends for 7 years, so I think that talks a lot about, like, even though I just said it's not about how long you know someone, we've been able to maintain that for 7 years is what I'm trying to say. One of my friends, 13 years. Again, we've been able to maintain being friends for that long, even though I barely see him. I barely see him. There was a time when I never saw him because we went to different secondary schools. No, not even him, right? Other friends around, and even them, it's like, you're not distant. It's just energy. Like, even them, right? I would say we're friends, but I wouldn't say we're like really good friends, because they have their best friends because they match a certain type of way, but we still chat, but we're not close. Does that make sense? But the one that I am really close to, we're similar, That's just the thing about friendship and energy. But like I said, that's why I say having really good friends is really important, because, okay, here's the difference, right? Some of my friends, they drink, right? I don't drink, but that doesn't mean that I can't be friends. You know what I mean? If that makes, that doesn't mean we can't be friends. Just because he drinks and I don't drink, that's different. That's a complete difference between us, right? But on a proper level, we're the same. We might not be the same, but we're very similar, and that's what makes us friends. Not even friends. It just makes us who we are. And like I said, friendship isn't defined by how long you know someone. I've known a guy for 2 years, but I would say he's one of the closest people I know. And I was really close to him, like less than a year into knowing him. But that's the thing. It's just vibes. It's just energy. It just depends on how you guys vibe with each other. And we have the same birthday, which is really odd. But another friend who, he's a musician. I barely see him. Like, he's busy. He's a very busy man. But we're still really good friends. How come? Because we kind of but that's the thing. Sometimes friendships also take effort. You have to put in the work. But some friendships, you don't have to. And you'll still be friends. That's the thing. Like, when I said the guy with one of my oldest friends, I've known him for 13 years, right? But there were times when we went to different secondary schools back in like year 7, year 8, we barely kept in contact, but we still tried, right? Like, I don't remember trying, right? We just do it. And like, even right now, I could probably not chat to him for like 2 years, and I don't need to, because I know if I see him again, it'll be literally like, oh, I haven't seen you since yesterday, kind of thing. And all I would literally say if I don't see him in 2 years is to get a freaking notepad, and I beg you, write down all your lore. I can't lie. If you're watching, I beg you, write down everything. Right, please. Right, write down, what's going on in your life. But this guy has too much lore, by the way. But back to what I was actually trying to say. So that's the thing when I was saying about the drinking thing, is what I was trying to say is there is things about habits, right? You'll pick up good habits. Okay. So even though my friends drink, some of my friends drink, but I don't drink. But that doesn't mean, even though we are different in this sense, fundamentally speaking, I would say there are going to be times where we make the same decision. Like, on a low level kind of example, I would want to say is maybe neither of us will smoke, or neither of us will ever smoke, kind of thing. Like, that's something we both be like, no, we both will never smoke. But, you know, one of them might drink and I don't. Like, that would be a difference. But, like, fundamentally, we might make the same decision. Like, you know what, if that kind of makes sense. Or, like, fundamentally, we might make the same decision about helping someone or saying something. We might say the same thing or, like, have the same sentence, just in different orders and, like, different words and, like, but we might have different decisions. But what I was trying to say, as a parent, it's important to hammer in good habits to your children, because your children will meet friends, and their friends and your friends are your biggest influence, and it should be, your friends will be similar to you. So if you've been given bad habits, it will be reflected in your friendships, and your friendships will pull you back into, or push you to make bad habits. You know, perhaps, you know, your father smokes. Perhaps someone in your family smokes, and you might not want to smoke, but that's what I'm trying to understand is, if you don't smoke, but you meet someone who does, like your friends smoke, is that the kind of energy you're giving off? And if, okay, your friends might smoke, but if they push you into it and you give in and you start smoking, who's, like, is this the energy that you've given out? That's what I'm trying to understand, you know? Because you would have attracted that kind of friends. And you might have realized, like, when you stop something, or when you stop a path, and you kind of grow into a different person, you'll lose friends, you'll lose people in your life, because you've outgrown them, right? You've become a different person. They don't need to be part of your life anymore, is what happens sometimes. So this is why I personally think it's very important to hammer in, like, good habits and good mannerisms, so that they can attract good friends, because you're more likely to behave the same way your friend would, because that's why you guys are friends, if that makes sense. Like, there's a difference between obviously a friend and, like, someone you're very close to, which is more than a friend, right? And we all know what I'm trying to say, so stop trying to, I don't know. I have an amazing topic. Amazing topic. The topic is ego. Every person should have ego. I believe ego is the greatest thing humans can ever have. Ego makes you great, in my opinion. Obviously, there are different types of ego. There is the ego that bleeds into you and reaps you from underneath. The ego that harms more than it should heal. That's one type of ego. But then there is that ego that heals. The ego that knows that it will win. The ego that knows. Ego is the greatest thing a man can have. And forgive me, I'm not using man in male, because man used to be called, it used to be a non-gendered word. It wasn't masculine or feminine. So you know what, I'll say, forgive me, I'll use it properly. Human, the greatest thing a human can have is ego. And I would say that everyone should have an ego. I know ego is kind of really looked down upon, you know, because don't let ego turn into arrogance. That's different. Don't let your ego turn into arrogance. That will hurt you. Let your ego be a sword. A sword that knows that if it strikes, it will always win. A sword that knows that it is the greatest, but knows that it is still weak enough and has more to come, more to be worked with. For a sword may not be the greatest thing that you have, but but it is the greatest thing that you can ever have. Let your sword be your ego, because your ego will carry you places that you'll never know. And I know ego is looked down upon for being arrogance and so high of themselves. How dare you think of yourself like that? No. What a great thing to think of yourself as high and mighty. But not in a sense that will rip you apart and will tear you down. Don't let it be arrogance. Let it be your greatest strength. The ego that knows that it can win. It can do whatever it can. It can win. It can succeed. It has the strength. It will push through whatever life throws at it. The ego that knows that it is destined for greatness. The ego that knows that it will win if it puts its mind to it. So I say ego in the sense of confidence. Let it not be arrogance, but let it be strength, which is my take on it. I think ego is the greatest thing a person could have. And I would say, feed your ego. Not to arrogance. Not feed, sorry, the wrong word. Tender to your ego. Know that you have the strength, but know that you are also weak. Know that that everyone is better than you. Know that no matter how good you are, there will always be someone better. But know that if you put your mind to it, you can win. For you may be a weakling, but in the eyes of yourself, you may be the strongest. What did I say? What did I say? Let anyone tell you anything, but never let yourself tell yourself things. Never let anyone tell you that you're not good enough. Never let anyone tell you that you can't do something. The day you say it to yourself is the day that you've lost, my friend. That is the day you've lost, my friend. The day you let other people's words get into your head. The day you let other people's words get into your head, that's the day you've lost, my friend. Never let anyone get into your head. For you should remember that you are the greatest. Remember that you are the best. You are the GOAT. Sorry. Remember that you are the GOAT. When I was talking about identity back in episode 1, here's another perspective with something called alter egos, which if you listen to my King's Rebirth on Insta, you would know what I was talking about. But I think when you're shifting into an identity, this is literally what an alter ego is you tap into that ego, it's literally called alter ego, that different version of you who can think the way that you want to. Like I said, if you want to be brave, having an alter ego who is brave, who thinks brave, who acts brave, who does things like a brave person would, and you tap into that person, you tap into that version of you, and eventually it'll be a part of you. I have an alter ego. Not really at the same time. This is Vitu, who you're talking to right now, who's talking to you right now. This is Vitu. When you know me, when you get to know me, you'll see Vidu, right? That's Vidu. It's my, I wouldn't say comfortable side. It's not Vitu, right? Vitu's my power, right? He's my, I don't know if charisma is the right word. But Vitu's he's my, when I'm struggling, I tap into Vitu. When I'm meeting new people, I tap into Vitu. But I've done it so much to the point where I just am him. I am V2. My name's V2. V2. Normally when I introduce myself to people, I go, just call me V2. V2. and I do it like this. Because that's my like alter identity. It's supposed to be a brand. Because my full name is Srividaran Sandrakumar Selvaraja. But you can call me Vitu. I always wanted to say that with style. Like, I always saw it in like, I thought it was really cringy, but like, if you want to make an impact, when I was young, I really wanted my name to like, I wanted to make like an impact. I just want to inspire people, bro. I don't know. My dream, my thing is I just want to inspire people. I want to make you become the best version of yourself. People make mistakes. You know, you can make mistakes in life, but it's about how you pick yourself back up again. And that's just who I want to be. I want to be the light for someone when they're going through a really dark time. I want to be the person that maybe you're going through a really rainy day, but it's just that little shimmer of light that comes out of nowhere. I just want to be like a shoulder you can cry on. And I'm really scared because like I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. And like I don't, obviously it's like, why would you look up to someone who, you know, does this? But it's just, I don't know, I just want to help people. My dream is to be someone who inspires. I just want to be someone who inspires. I want to inspire people to become the best version of themselves. Obviously right now I'm not doing that, but what I'm saying is, tend to your ego. It is the greatest strength you have. Ego is a good thing. It makes you who you are. Don't make your ego turn into arrogance. It will make you perish. Marinate with your ego. Your ego is the greatest thing you have. Let it thrive. Ego, like, you think people like, you know, Ronaldo has an ego, but his ego got him where he is. But he's still respected as one of the greatest football players of all time, right? But his ego got him there. You can say he has an ego, he does, but he backs it. But it's not even about how he backs it. He backs it because he knows he's the best. He has the ego, and he backs it because his ego helps him back it. His ego knows. He knows, right? That's the difference. Messi has an ego, right? Messi, obviously, he doesn't really... Well, Messi's so chill, right? We all know Messi's, okay, the best, right? But as a Ronaldo fan, Messi is the GOAT. But what was I saying? Messi has an ego. Messi 100% will definitely have an ego. He knows. Para Messi, Ankara Messi, Ankara Messi, Ankara Messi. You know, like, he knows. Messi knows. Messi has an ego. He will definitely have an ego. And his ego brought him where he is today. Everyone has ego, and ego is the greatest thing you can have. So, tend to your ego. Okay, here's another topic I forgot to discuss. Here's the topic. It is essentially when people... Okay. Would you rather someone... You know when you're afraid that people will judge you, in the sense where they find out something about you and then you're worried that they will, you know, stop being friends, or they'll leave you, or, you know, come chat to you. But if you really think about it, yeah, you should be grateful for those people, because they just saved... If they do leave, if they do, you know, not chat to you and stuff like that, like, you should be grateful because they just saved you from themselves. Because would you want, like, Because if you think about it, okay, if your friends can be manipulated, right? If someone said something, say, okay, let's say that slapping is the worst crime that you can do in your life, in this world, in a world, right? And say there's a rumor about you slapping, right? Okay, this is a two-way thing. One where you actually didn't slap, and one where you actually you did slap. And the rumor is that you slapped, right? So in the rumor, in the world where you didn't slap, the slapping is the worst crime. If someone went up to your friends or if someone who didn't, it doesn't have to be your friends, it can be anyone, and they're like, oh, did you hear about the rumor that you slapped people, right? But you haven't never slapped someone, and you've never slapped someone. And if people are so quick to believe you, say your friends believed you, they were never your friends, first of all. Second of all, if people believe you, thank them. Because if the people don't have the guts or don't really come to get to know if you actually did slap them, to actually get to know if you did or if you didn't slap them, right? Because if they got to know you, they'd know or they'd find out that you didn't slap them. So the rumors are wrong, right? And let's say in the world where you did slap them, right? Again, we'll play out the same, and if they come, if they come ask you, yo, did you slap? It was a moth. It's getting bamboozled by my light. It's in a world where you did slap, right? And they come ask you, why did you slap? And they find out that you did slap, but then you'd be able to tell them, oh, I slapped them because I had no choice. I was trying to save my life, or I didn't mean to, or like it was a life or death situation. I had no choice, kind of thing. Then they'd know the real you. They'd find you, right? But if people never take the chance to come even talk to you, and they just listen to people and they leave, or like they don't give you the chance to see you for you, right? Because if they come, okay, say you did actually slap them, and you had horrible intent, right? And they, come find out, and then when they make the choice, like, okay, he's still a bad person or something, then them leaving makes sense. That's more in my eyes more respectable, right? But if they're so quick to just judge you, or quick to listen to other people, what other people say, and they listen to that over being able to listen to you, especially if it's someone that knows you, if it's your friends who are easily able to listen to someone else, and they like say that you did slap them or you didn't slap them, and they're just hearing that you did, and if they're quick to believe it and they shun you up, or like they don't really chat to you, they were probably never your friends, because your friends would probably would immediately not think, or probably not think that you'd do that, or like would try and kind of think about, oh, if you did do that, why would you do that, what happened, there has to be a reason, something like that. So next time you're worried that people will shun you out because of something, just remember that the people who do leave or do shun you out, they just saved you from themselves. You wouldn't want someone who would be so easily judged. Why would you want a friend who can so easily be swayed by what other people say? Think about it. If they can so quickly be if something that's said to them about you so quickly can make them change their mind about you, you wouldn't want friends like that. You would want someone who, even if you are in the wrong, they would probably still try and figure out why. And then if they still feel like you're in the wrong and then they leave, that's a different story, and that's more respectable in my opinion. But that's just another topic I had in my head. So it's if you're worried that people will leave because of rumors and stuff like that, or if you have rumors surrounding you, just remember that the real people, or the people who know you, or people who get to know you, they'll come to you and they'll be with you. And the people who leave, they just saved you from themselves. So just be grateful that you just got saved.